What if the person you thought was the weakest in the house turned out to be the strongest? What if the one you looked down on ended up standing taller than everyone else? If this kind of story touches your heart, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because today's tale will stay with you for a very long time. Aisha was only 24 when she married into a family she thought would become her safe haven. Her husband, Fahad, was charming at first, kind, gentle, always promising her a life filled with dreams. But dreams, as she later discovered, can shatter like glass. From the very first day, his family never truly accepted her. They whispered behind her back, compared her cooking to others, criticized the way she dressed, and most of all, they never let her forget that she had come into their home with nothing. Aisha bore it all quietly, believing that patience and love could heal hearts of stone. Her husband, too, slowly changed. The sweet words he once spoke turned into commands, and the promises faded into silence. He began siding with his family every time they humiliated her. Nights turned into battles of tears, mornings into chores without gratitude, and her life into a shadow of what it once was. She held on to her dignity, praying silently, hoping for just one day when things would be different. That day came, but not in the way she expected. One evening, after yet another argument where Fahad's mother accused her of being a burden, Fahad lost his temper. "Enough," he shouted, his face red with anger. "Pack your things and leave. This is not your home anymore. You brought nothing with you, and you are nothing without us." His family stood by, some smirking, others looking on with cold satisfaction. Aisha stood frozen, her heart breaking into 1,000 pieces. She had given everything, her love, her care, her youth, to this family, and yet, in one cruel moment, they cast her aside. Tears blurred her vision as she packed a small bag with trembling hands. She stepped out of the house, barefoot, carrying nothing but her shattered soul. For days, she wandered between her relatives, most of whom closed their doors. The world seemed crueler than ever. But in her darkest hour, she received a phone call that would change everything. Her grandmother, who had lived quietly in a distant city, had passed away. Aisha had always loved her, always felt safe in her arms, but she never knew the secret her grandmother carried. In her will, she left everything she owned to Aisha: estates, businesses, lands, and wealth that no one could even imagine. Overnight, the girl who was thrown out as worthless became one of the richest women in the country. At first, Aisha didn't know what to do with so much power. But slowly, she rebuilt herself. She bought a home filled with warmth and love, started charities to help women who suffered like she once had, and invested in schools for poor children. Every step she took was a step toward healing, not just for herself, but for countless others. She became a symbol of strength, courage, and dignity. Months later, fate brought her face to face with her old life. Fahad and his family were struggling, their business had failed, debts surrounded them, and the very house they had once lived in was on the verge of being seized. Desperate, Fahad came to Aisha's office, not knowing she now owned the company they once begged for loans from. He stood there, stunned, as he saw her sitting confidently at the head of the table, dressed in elegance, her presence commanding respect. He stammered, "Aisha. I didn't know. Please, help us." She looked at him, her eyes calm but firm. "When I needed you, you threw me out without a second thought. Today, you stand where I once stood, helpless. But I won't treat you the way you treated me. I'll help you, but not because of who you are. I'll help because I don't want anyone else to suffer as I once did. But remember, Fahad, you lost me forever the day you chose pride over love." His family hung their heads in shame, realizing the treasure they had thrown away. Aisha walked out of that room with her head high, leaving behind the ghosts of her past. She had learned that self-worth is never defined by others but by the strength within. And from then on, she lived not just as a woman who inherited billions, but as a woman who turned her pain into power, her heartbreak into hope, and her silence into a voice for others. So if this story touched your heart, remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Because just like Aisha, you too hold the power to rise, no matter how hard life tries to push you down. And always remember, the people who underestimate you today might just bow their heads tomorrow.